Hello and welcome back to Hypertension. Last episode we mentioned a few genetic factors that can make you more susceptible to getting hypertension.
But this doesn't mean you'll necessarily have hypertension, only that you should be aware of certain risk factors.
Hypertension can affect anybody of any age, however there are certain risk factors which can make you more susceptible to getting it, whether or not you have the genes for it.
On that note, today we'll be looking at environmental factors that can also put you at risk. Environmental factors can include social determinants and drivers, behavioural risk factors, and metabolic risk factors. Social determinants can include globalisation, urbanisation, ageing population, income, education, housing.
Behavioural risk factors can include an unhealthy diet, low or no physical activity, and harmful use of alcohol and tobacco. Metabolic risk factors can include obesity, diabetes, and increased blood cholesterol levels.
The number of people in the world with hypertension has doubled over the last 40 years, and this is mainly due to population growth and ageing. This increase is largely evident in low-income and middle-income countries such as South Asia, Central and Eastern Europe, and Sub-Saharan Africa. Interestingly, the countries that had the highest number of people with hypertension in the mid-1970s, such as Western and Asian Pacific countries, now have the lowest number of people with hypertension.
Lower social determinants of health can then affect behavioural risk factors such as unhealthy diets and physical inactivity. Unhealthy diets that are high in salt or sugar can then lead to metabolic risk factors such as diabetes or obesity, as well as place pressure on your kidneys, which can in turn affect urbanisation, population and income growth, and so continues the downward spiral. Salt is important in regulating the water and fluid balance in your body. When the amount of salt in your bloodstream increases, the amount that your kidneys work to excrete this extra salt also increases. Extra work like this, that the body doesn't normally have to do, can then increase your blood pressure. So your genes may make you more susceptible to developing hypertension, but controlling for your social and lifestyle habits can still reduce its development. Similarly, if you don't have a genetic predisposition for it, your lifestyle habits can still play a significant role in your chance of developing it.
A really good example of this was seen in the Hyper10sion study initiated in 1965. This study compared different rates of cardiovascular disease and other risk factors of Japanese men living in different cities in Japan and America. The Hyper10sion study, loosely meaning the Japanese 3, investigated Japanese men living in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, Japan, in Honolulu, Hawaii, and in the San Francisco Bay Area, California. Japan has one of the lowest mortality rates of heart disease in the world. With the Oriental diet being low in fat and high in complex carbohydrates, these factors have been of particular interest to various areas of research. The study's goals were to investigate the different rates of heart disease and risk factors in subjects that share common ethnic backgrounds but live in contrasting cultural and geographical environments. Results found that the occurrence of coronary heart disease were highest in California, followed by Hawaii and lowest in Japan. This increased incidence of death by heart disease was found to be accompanied by parallel increases of levels of known risk factors, such as high levels of cholesterol and glucose in the blood, increased levels of saturated fat intake, increased body weight, and blood pressure levels. Although the findings of this study support evidence that environmental and behavioural factors influence chronic disease rates, they've also provided a basis for intervention and prevention. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for the next episode where we'll be discussing the symptoms of hypertension and other associated diseases to be aware of.